Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you all the feat choices in Solasta 2's early access, which is following the 2024 Player's Handbook rule set, which makes some big changes to the feats. There's also some homebrewed ones here, as they can only use the system reference documents here, but the cool thing is there are very many great options here that I'll be breaking down in this video, and a lot of them will give you a +1 to a stat, meaning that you can start with 17 in a score and bring it up to 18 while still getting all of these benefits while we are in the early access. Now, if you are playing as a martial class here, like the paladin that I got, what you can actually do is take another fighting style here. So not something I'd recommend doing, but you can take archery for +2 to the ranged weapon attacks. You can go a defense when you're wearing armor, it gets a +1 to AC. Great weapon here, whenever you roll damage with an attack you make with a melee weapon you're holding with 2 hands, you can treat any 1 or 2 on the die as a 3. This is really good on great swords, just bringing up the damage to minimum of 6 here. We also have the shielding feat, which is interesting because when you're within 5 feet of a friendly creature, which means that you're standing right beside them, that is being attacked, you can then use your reaction to give them a +2 to their armor class until the start of their next turn. You can also be diagonal to them, as you want to mention. This is actually pretty interesting. It does use your reaction for just 1 instead of something like shield, which gives you it for the turn. This is still pretty solid though. And 2 weapon fighting, which will add your ability modifier to the damage of your second attack. I wouldn't fully recommend taking those. The ability score improvement, as you guys all would know, increases your ability scores by 2 points. This is great because that would allow you to take your strength up to like 18 or something like that. But as mentioned, we do have a lot of half feats in this game, so you don't always have to do it. Unfortunately, there is no respecking in this game currently. So yeah, you're stuck with your choices, so you kind of have to plan ahead. And that's why a lot of people requested a video like this. But our first unique one here, we got the Agile Skirmisher. So this will increase your ability score, dexterity by 1 to a maximum of 20. If you're within 5 feet of a target, you do not get disadvantage on a ranged weapon attack roll. Shoot a move. If you make a ranged weapon attack against a creature, that creature cannot make opportunity attacks for the rest of your turn. And hidden shooter. So you also can make a ranged weapon attack when hidden, and if the roll misses, it will not reveal your location. This is more of like a runner and gunner type build. I think it's very interesting. It could be great on a rogue. Ambidextrous here. This lets you increase either your strength or your dexterity to 1, and you get strong arm. You can use any melee weapon attack that doesn't have the 2-handed or heavy property as if it was the light property. So you can dual wield some pretty bigger weapons, just not any of the heavier 2-handed ones. Pretty nice option, and I'm sure this will have some solid builds as the level cap increases. Next up is Blessing of the Elements. This one is actually really interesting. So you get to increase your constitution score by 1. Everyone benefits from that. And you get elemental defense, which everyone also benefits from. So whenever you're hit with acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder damage, you can use your reaction to become resistant, taking half damage for 1 minute. So that's 10 turns. Pretty crazy. It is only usable once per long rest, but due to the number of long rests in this game, I could see this being really good, especially if there's a certain type of elemental damage, like if we're in like a fire-based dungeon, for example, and there's a lot of fire damage, you can get resistance to that for 10 turns. And combat does get extended quite a bit in this game, so I do see this being a very valuable one just for the defensive purpose. We also have some, the casting virtuoso here, which is pretty sweet. So you increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1. You can perform somatic parts of the spells, even if you have weapons or a shield in 1 or both hands. And being within 5 feet of an enemy does not impose disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls with spells. And you also get advantage on your saving throw against counterspell. That's not applicable at the current moment, but that could be very nice. Basically, what this is going to do for spellcasters is let them cast freely without having to have that focus in their hand, and also be able to cast at close range and not get counterspelled as often. This is a pretty solid option. This will also scale very well as the level caps increase as we get counterspell, obviously. Now, there's multiple different creeds here. These are unique to this game. So the Creed of Aaron here will give you Constitution a +1, and you also gain proficiency in Constitution saving throws. If you already have the proficiency, you get additional doubled, and this is honestly quite nice. Now, each of these does come with a few different benefits. I would recommend the Constitution-based one if you wanted to take one of these, because con score is always going to be important, but Constitution saves are concentration saves, so pretty important later on. The Creed of Einar here, which will give you increased strength and boost your strength saving throws. The Creed of Merike increases your wisdom and your wisdom saving throws. The Creed of Misai will increase your dexterity and dexterity saving throws. Creed of Pakri here will increase your intelligence and saving throws, and the Creed of Solasta here will increase your charisma and saving throws. So yeah, those are all interesting. There's one for each. Death from Above increases your strength or dexterity by 1 to a max of 20, and when you make a ranged weapon attack against a creature more than 10 feet below you, you can use your proficiency bonus and add that to your attack and damage rolls. It's over, Anakin. I have the higher ground. Next up is Eager for Battle. This one's actually really good. You get to choose one ability score of your choice, so anything goes, to a max of 20. And when you roll for initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus twice to the roll. This does use the D20 initiative. Baldur's Gate 3 uses a D4 if you're familiar with that. That's why Alerts was so good in this game. And this one is still pretty good. Initiative expertise is very useful. But the other thing is you get a speed increase of 10 feet. That is actually quite a bit of movement speed. It's like a 33% increase overall. Even getting one of the Ancestry passives only gives you 5 feet. So it's like basically getting Long Strider, which is really good in this game. So yeah, Eager for Battle is very useful. We also got Flawless Concentration. This one is another cool one, giving you a +1 to Constitution. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain your concentration, and you automatically succeed on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration when taking 10 damage or less. That is insane. You're basically never breaking your concentration with that. Honestly, so powerful. So I can see this being really good on a Cleric a little bit later on. We'll just have to wait and see how this game pans out. But yeah, keep your eyes on this one. Follow-up Strike gives you a +1 to strength, and you get Quick Strike. When you make an attack with the two-handed melee weapons, you can use a bonus action to perform a quick follow-up, which will deal in 1d4 plus your strength modifier of the same damage type. That's pretty solid just for a little extra damage, but not one that I would be dying to grab. Patient Strike will increase your strength or dexterity by 1 to max 20. Enhanced Ready Weapon. When you perform a weapon attack using the ready action, you can attack as many times as you're taking the attack action for your turn. And you also get the Patient Precision here. You get advantage when you perform a weapon attack using the ready action or opportunity attack. So the ready action lets you prepare and like kind of precast a spell for when target comes near you. It's an okay option. I'm gonna have to wait and see and use this a little bit more. I just haven't found it to be that effective, but it could potentially be pretty solid. Now, Powerful Cantrip, on the other hand, is actually pretty good. And I can see this being great whenever the Eldritch Blasting Warlock comes along, but increases your mental stats, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1. And when a creature succeeds its saving throw against your cantrip, or the attack misses, you still will end up dealing half the damage. That's pretty solid. It's kind of like the Graze ability just for a cantrip. Pretty good stuff. We also have Raise Shield here, which will give you a +1 to strength or dexterity or constitution, so 3 of the most important stats. You also gain proficiency with shields, and you get Deflect. If you're holding a shield and a creature attacks you with a ranged attack, you can use a reaction to add your proficiency bonus to armor class. And the best part about this is you keep this bonus to your armor class against ranged attacks until the start of your next turn. So pretty solid actually, because later on you're going to get a nice +4 to your armor class. Yeah, right now it's only going to be a +2. Still okay. I wouldn't really recommend taking this, but you could actually get shield proficiencies from your background or if you play as a human. So there's a lot of other ways to get shield proficiency in this game. Throwing Expert's a fun one. No Tavern Brawler from Baldur's Gate 3, but that's good. We don't need that in this game. Increases your strength or dex by 1, and you get Heavy Throw. Attacking at long range does not give disadvantage on your next attack roll with thrown weapons. And you also get Melee Throw. Being within 5 feet of an enemy does not impose disadvantage on your attack rolls with thrown weapons. And when you take the attack action with a thrown weapon and your other hand is free, you can perform an extra attack as a bonus action using the same weapon. Pretty decent if you like going with a throwing build. I actually do think this is solid. As mentioned, Tavern Brawler is super broken. This is not broken, but it's a good choice if you want to go with a throwing build. Javelins are just really fun in this game, and you can even get darts. So another one that I think is actually very valuable is Uncanny Accuracy. You can choose any ability score, increase it by 1, and you get Eagle-Eyed. So your ranged attacks with both weapons and spells will ignore half cover and 3/4 cover. That's something that you probably haven't used if you're just used to Baldur's Gate 3, but yeah, enemies can block, get cover and take less damage from ranged attacks or have a less chance of getting hit, and this will help ignore that. It's a very good one, honestly, for any type of spellcaster. So yeah, this is one you probably want to take on your spellcasters. Put their intelligence up to like 17 and boost it up to 18 using that. We also got the Unstoppable Forest. When you increase your strength by 1 to max 20, Greater Push. Whenever you push a target, such as with the shove or to push weapon mastery, the distance of the target is increased by 10 feet. Does not work with spells that push creatures. You also get Destructive Force. When you push a target, they take an additional 1d4 per 5 foot of the foot distance. So yeah, you can deal additional damage, and it gives you an extra 10 feet of pushing, so that does end up giving you a bit extra damage. I think this is going to be a fun one as well. It may not be like a meta, but it's fun, and that's what's important. Now, the Magic Initiates are actually very good, because in this game, it's going to give you 2 cantrips and a spell, and what's great about this is you use your Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma as your spellcasting modifier, whatever the best of those is. So yeah, you can actually get some, like if you're playing as a Paladin, they can get this relatively easily as well. The Paladin can get themselves some Wisdom-based abilities and use a Charisma to cast. Same thing here with the Magic Initiate Wizard. You can learn 2 Wizard cantrips and then also get a Wizard spell. Pretty fun stuff. Now, the last few feats are feats that you can choose at your origin when you're creating your character. So the human gets the choice of a lot of these. The quick here, increase your movement speed by 5 feet. Opportunity of hacks will have disadvantage against you. These ones aren't worth picking, I'll be honest, because quick is nowhere near as good as if we were to take the eager for battle for the increased movement speed, initiative, and an ability score +1. So yeah, don't take these, but I'm going to mention them anyways. Ready for war. This is actually something you get at the start of the game, and there's 2 ways to get it, being a human or playing as a spell sword, giving proficiency in light armor, shields, and martial weapons. This is amazing on a lot of like sorcerer, or if you're got a wizard, this will give them shields and light armor. Very busted and very strong, but don't take it as your feat, take it at the start of the game. Robust. This will give you an increase 1 hit point per level. That's good. And when you use hit point die to recover your hit points, you can roll 2 die, take the higher result. And if you become stable unconscious at 0 hit points, you regain 1. Not bad. And also a savage attacker, which is nerfed in this game. It only happens once per turn. We'll hopefully see this change at some point to maybe be multiple times per turn, but once per turn, reroll your damage die. It boosts up your DPS, but it's not really worth taking unless you get it at the start of the game. I would not ever recommend it at level 4. It'd be a starter feat, and it's good. Don't get me wrong, but once per turn does kind of nerf it. Skilled gives you 3 skills or tools of your choice. Again, you can get this at the start of the game. Same as Vigilant, which gives you proficiency in perception. If you're already proficient, you get double that expertise. And you also get being surprised does not give you disadvantage on your initiative roll. So that is all the different feats right there. My recommendation for really good ones: eager for battle, increase movement speed by 10 feet, rolling initiative and adding twice your proficiency bonus, and an ability score improvement on anything +1. That's amazing. Flawless concentration, another fantastic one that gives you so many great benefits to concentration. You're never going to break it with this. I also like to go with the powerful cantrip can be an okay choice alongside the patient strike. Patient strike if you really want to use a ready weapon. Throw an expert if you're going for a throwing build is really fun. And I like the magic initiates here, but the last one I want to talk about is the uncanny accuracy there. Being able to ignore cover is super useful, but honestly, like the top 2 would be eager for battle and flawless concentration. Once we get better concentration spells out there, eager for battle just being probably one of the best choices. And obviously the good old fashioned ability score improvement. And if you go defensive with a tanky build, blessing of the elements is pretty crazy. So let me know your favorite feats in Solasta 2 in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you all in the next one.